What is going on, guys? Welcome to The Reformed Reader, the channel where we review different forms of media through the lens of a Christian who is under the authority of the scriptures. My name is Josh, and today we're going to be doing our weekly update. So let's just quickly jump right into a life update. So most of you probably know or remember, my family has struggled with illness for the past few weeks. Man, we have just been hit hard, probably the past like 3, maybe 4 weeks, something like that. It's been a little bit of a struggle. Thankfully, I think we see the light at the end of the tunnel. I think we're at the back end of it. Yeah, so we should be moving past it pretty quickly. But as you can tell, my voice still isn't up to snuff, which is why I have the mic so close, just because it's been very difficult for me to have any sort of like an extended conversation, which is in large part why I didn't put out a video this past week. I really wanted to film, some reviews I've got waiting, a couple of other videos, and part of it's because I want to get back in the routine, but it's just like my voice just wouldn't hold up. So yeah, I was just like, rather than do that and struggle through these things and have to have a bunch of edits, I'm just going to wait, let my voice recover, and, get back on the horse here this week. And then my wife is now battling the same sort of I don't know if it's sinus issues or what, but now she's got the same kind of cough and is struggling with her voice like I am. So yeah, it's just been like one thing after another. It's like, okay, you got hit by the car and you survived. Now you get up and here comes the bus, so, but again, like I said, thankfully we seem to be moving past it. So let's move into what did I read? So at the time of recording this, I'm recording this Saturday, and most of you will probably watch this on Sunday. I'm about the 40% mark into 12 Months, which is the newest installment in the Dresden Files. I'm really enjoying it. I'm getting a lot out of it. The beginning was kind of slow for me. For those of you who are caught up to the series, the first little section, probably the first 25% of the book, is Harry wrestling with the aftermath of Battleground, which it was the previous book. And he's still wrestling with some of those things, and they are affecting him, but we're kind of starting to see where the story progresses from here. It is that breath of fresh air. I've mentioned this to a couple of friends. I may have mentioned this on here. It's like you had this really epic moment with Battleground, and Jim Butcher is taking 12 Months, and he's using it as sort of that ability for you to take a breath, to slow down. So rather than it being like these world-ending events where, Dresden is having to save the world again, he's instead much more laser-focused on like an individual character or a couple of characters. And so it's kind of back to some of the private detective or private investigator type of a story. So there's still high stakes. Some of the people that he cares about, their lives are in danger. And so now he's having to kind of solve some crimes and mysteries in order to protect those that he loves, but it's on a much smaller scale. So again, the stakes are still high. You're just not getting exhausted with these big epic moments. So yeah, it's really good. Really enjoying it. It seems sort of, to me, like a callback to some of the earlier books, which I really enjoyed. I know a lot of people, are mixed on those. I really enjoyed the earlier books. So it does seem sort of like that callback to those previous books with sort of a more modern twist on it. So I'm really enjoying 12 Months. And then I'm also about a quarter of the way through of Malice by John Gwynne. Yeah, man, really enjoying this. It kind of started slow. I don't want to say I struggled with it, but my experience with Bloodsworn, I think, probably affected how I started reading Faithful and the Fallen. And so I was talking to my friend Chris yesterday, and he was like, I wonder what it is about Malice that's working for you that didn't work as well for you with Bloodsworn. And I hadn't really thought about it until he asked me that. And so I kind of sat and thought and realized, I think, everybody has said that Faithful and Fallen is sort of John Gwynne's, it'll be his legacy series. And I can see why. Because I think Faithful and the Fallen, just from the little bit that I've read of it so far, is much more plot focused, much more character focused, and very much this epic story. So it's like John Gwynne wanted to tell this really epic story and get you really invested in these characters, and in order to use them as vehicles to drive this plot forward, because he wants to tell this crazy story, and he's doing an excellent job. There's a couple of like obviously big similarities with this and Bloodsworn, and also for those of you that have read A Song of Ice and Fire, there's some things in there that are very similar. And what I mean is like, so the chapters are broken up based on different points of view. And so like each chapter has a heading, and that heading is the character whose perspective you're reading from. Very similar, obviously, to A Song of Ice and Fire. And that didn't really work for me with Bloodsworn, and it's working for me here. And I think a big part of it is that I care about more of the characters here, just in the 25% that I've read. Not that I didn't care about the characters in Bloodsworn, but like I really liked Orca, and I kind of didn't care about the rest. I understood why they were there. But you know, I didn't care about them. I didn't like, they could have died in the story and I would have been fine. But with this, I'm invested in these characters. So that's a big thing. But I think the biggest thing is that it seems like he had like he shifted his focus with Bloodsworn, and it was less about the characters, less about the story, and more about the concept. So if you've seen those Wicked covers, which I'll throw one up right here, if you've seen those covers, they are awesome. And they evoke this feeling of like a Norse Clash of the Titans. And that's sort of what the series is as far as Bloodsworn goes. But I think it fell flat with him trying to wrestle with that concept, because while you did get that, it was always at the tail end of each book. And I was kind of looking for more of like this giant dragon and this giant wolf going at it or whatever. Again, those things did happen, but it was too few and far between. It was too few and far between as far as those moments, to where I just kind of didn't care. You know, a lot of people have the critique of Lord of the Rings saying it was just, you know, a book or movie about walking. And that kind of seemed like what was going on with Bloodsworn for me personally. So it certainly seemed like that John Gwynne was far more focused on the concept of Bloodsworn than he was about the characters and the plot itself. And so that does not seem to be the case with The Faithful and Fallen, which is why I'm enjoying it so much more. So yeah, so far it's great. I would say if anybody's looking to read A Song of Ice and Fire and they want a less bleak and debased story, then I think you'll really enjoy this. So I would say, like, you know, if somebody called Game of Thrones grimdark, this is just sort of like grim. I wouldn't say it's dark, because there's quite a bit of nobility and righteousness in this series. And it's certainly a battle between good and evil, and not one where it's like, well, everybody's kind of evil. So for anybody that's looking for a series like A Song of Ice and Fire that's not rooted in unrighteousness, I think you'll really enjoy this. I'm having a good time with it, in the words of one of my favorite comedians.
We're having a good time.
But yeah, it's so far it's great. So this brings me into what am I going to read? So obviously I'm going to continue on with 12 Months and with Malice. I think I will probably finish both of these this week. I kind of hope to. I think I'll wrap both of these up this week, because then it'll give me 2 weeks to finish up a couple of other things. I'd like to read 4 books this month, and so far that number is 0. So I would like to finish 2 this week, so that way I can move into something else. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just completely shift gears. So what I would like to do is to read some science fiction and fantasy, and then just have a complete change of pace with something like a mystery. So what I think I want to do is, maybe if I'm able to finish these this week, which I hope to, at least one of them, if I'm able to finish one of these this week, I hope to jump into Shutter Island by Dennis Lehane. I've mentioned this several times. I finally want to get to it. I want that change of pace. I want that fast paced read. I want that short palate cleanse, so that way I can launch into another one of these big books for next month. Because I kind of think that's what I'm going to do with each month, is I'm going to have like one big book and then a few shorter books, smaller books, maybe in a longer series, but the books themselves aren't 600 or 700 pages. Yeah, as far as what I'm going to read, 12 Months, Malice by John Gwynne, and then hopefully Shutter Island or something of that nature, something that's a complete change of pace. So this leads me into what is coming up on the channel. So this week, I plan to put out first my I Am Legend review. I really want to do my Shadows Upon Time review. However, I just don't know how much my voice will hold up, and I want to kind of be on my A game to wrap that series up. I also want to spend some more time with it as far as editing goes. I really want that review to be as good as I can make it because it's the last one in that series. So I'm going to wait and probably push that one off for the following week. So I'm going to do my I Am Legend review. I plan on recording it today and then hopefully releasing it on Wednesday. And then Friday, I hope to release the media challenge with my bride. So with it being Valentine's Day, I think that it would be appropriate, and so does she, it was actually her idea, that we do our little media battle. So, you know, we did a book battle, talking about covers and stuff. We'd like to do another one and maybe discuss movies or TV shows or whatever. We'll have our kiddos help us out with that one. And the winner we'll get to select probably a movie for us to watch for Valentine's Day. That'll be fun. Otherwise, as far as what's coming up this week, probably not a whole lot. I do have some pretty big plans for the next couple of weeks with some friends of mine, some pretty cool videos that I hope to put out. And yeah, hopefully I'll get to put out a couple more shorts. I really enjoy doing the bad book descriptions. I really love those. Those are fun. Those and the rapid reviews, those are actually fun for me to record. But yeah, those two little recurring segments as far as the shorts go are so much fun for me to shoot. So I plan to do more of those. And lastly, I just want to touch on a couple of dates for you to keep in mind for the giveaway for the Name of the Wind book that I mentioned in my monthly wrap up. The deadline is this Friday. So if you want to win a free copy of Name of the Wind, it's mass market paperback, all I need you to do is be subscribed to the channel and leave a comment over on that video, which is the monthly wrap up for January, and you'll be entered to win. I will do that drawing at the end of the day, Friday, and I will be posting the winner on next week's weekly update. So make sure that you leave me a comment that just says Name of the Wind or whatever if you are interested in that. The other date to keep in mind is the viewer submissions. I had so much fun with those viewer submissions. I absolutely love having you guys on the channel. I absolutely love giving you guys the opportunity to show off your bookshelves or talk about a book, recommend one or whatever, or maybe just like be a dork for 2 or 3 minutes. I don't care because like that's me, you know. So if you're interested in submitting, which I hope that you are, I love hearing from you guys. The deadline for that is going to be Friday, February 27th. So it's going to be the day before the end of the month, and then rather than do a weekly update, that would be March 1st, I'll probably just post my monthly recap or monthly wrap up on that day, and I'll post them then. But I would like to have them in by the end of the day that Friday, so that way I can, you know, download them or sift through or whatever I need to do to get them lined up to be able to view them. So if you guys didn't submit something last month and you would like to, please do. I love hearing from you guys, even if it's just a question. And if you guys did, I'd love to see another one. So this is an opportunity for you guys to kind of just take over a segment of the channel and the video. You can give a shout out or whatever. I don't care. Just do whatever you want to. So again, the deadline for that is Friday, February 27th. There's various ways for you to send that to me. Just shoot me an email over at the Reformed Reader Books at gmail.com. You can upload it with Google Drive on YouTube and set it as a private link and just send me the link, or you can just send it to me directly, whatever you want to do, but would love to hear from you guys. Okay. So, that is the week. It has been nice to sort of get back in a routine. So that's one thing I didn't mention in the life update is that, I've been looking forward to getting back into my routine. I am a creature of habit. I like having a set routine. I like doing things at the same time. I eat the same thing for lunch every single day at work. It's that kind of stuff. So, like I am a big creature of habit. So it's just kind of nice to be able to get back to work, to get back in the routine and the swing of things, to get back to recording videos and editing videos. Yeah, I'm looking forward to not being sick anymore. So, I will say, as far as like getting back in the routine, at work this week, man, the fatigue hit me like crazy, like I did not expect. Because, you know, I get out there and I get ready to, we've got some equipment that we use for getting different measurements on a couple of the bridges that we did this past week. And I was exhausted after like 2 or 3 minutes, which is uncommon. And I was wheezing, you know, so, the fatigue after sickness is real. So I hope to shake that this week. But again, I'm just glad to get back in the routine. Thank you guys so much for your continued support and prayers. Thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out with me as well and listening to me ramble about the week that I had. What kind of week did you have? Did you guys have a good week? What did you read? I'm genuinely interested. So leave me a comment down below. I'd love to talk to you guys. Let me know what you guys are up to. But other than that, it has been a decent week. Can't wait for the week to come. I hope you guys have a great week. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you on the next one.